Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks bringing you the Daily SPY Report for Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. Before I jump into the charts, just as usual, want to encourage you to please click like if you like the Daily SPY Report, whether you watch it for the first time today or every day. Please click like each and every time. I do appreciate it. It does help with the YouTube web presence. And also click subscribe. Subscribing to the Wicked Stocks YouTube channel will provide you notification, provided those notifications are set to on. Each and every time new content has been uploaded to the Wicked Stocks YouTube channel. The Daily SPY Report itself goes out each and every trading day, actually the evening before by around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, Chicago. And so that's that. Let's talk, let's take a look at a blank chart here, blank daily chart. I want to walk you through the Omicron experience over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and then I'm done with it. I don't really want to talk about it anymore, but it has been a market mover, to say the least. We settled on Wednesday, November 24th, the day before Thanksgiving, at 469.44. That's just off the all-time high settlement put out 4 days earlier at 469.73. Thanksgiving meals, and then Friday morning we awoke to the Omicron news, the new variant. There were questions in terms of its severity, its transmissibility, what was going to happen. We needed to wait for the scientific community to talk about it, and talk about it they did actually on Tuesday. When we awoke Tuesday morning, there were several news items with regard to Omicron. Number one, that the virus is not as deadly, or the new variant, I should say, Omicron, is not as deadly as they had feared. There's also pharmaceutical news. I didn't read too deeply into it, but I do know that an antiviral drug should be effective against Omicron. That was one statement. And also, I think Pfizer had mentioned that they could actually have a new vaccine out for Omicron by March if need be. But, it doesn't look as if that's going to be needed. And so we are right back where we were, almost right back where we were on Wednesday, November 24th, before the entire Omicron experience. We did actually approach this area on Tuesday, 469.44. There is a descending channel top. You're probably aware of that if you've been watching for the last few days, at 470.35. So this area can contain buying through the rest of the week, quite possibly through next week. And there is the possibility that from here, the market can, consolidate presumably for a matter of days and then possibly fall south into the 440s. So holding below 470.35, I don't have a sell signal, but I do think it is quite possible that we could fall off late December into early January, back into the 440s perhaps. Now, I'm not bearish. It doesn't mean I'm bearish. It just means that we are approaching a meaningful resistance area. And when you approach a meaningful resistance, the weekly resistance area, kind of a 3-star resistance area, then I'm always looking for, where is the more meaningful support that was below the market. They kind of tend to sort of, I think there's a sort of a ping pong effect, if you will, with regard to the chart structure. So holding below 470.35, I think you should allow that 443.21 rising channel bottom over the next 2 to 3 weeks, perhaps. Now, we don't have a sell signal that would actually emerge today, clearly, for me anyway, if we were to close below the 459.43 intermediate channel structure. And I don't even see that being tested today unless there's some surprise bearish news. Right now, I think the emphasis is still on testing resistance in that 470.35 area. Now, we can back off today. Let's take a look at support and resistance. 470.35, you see noted here. We can back off to 466.56, and that is a level that can contain intraday selling pressures, and above which that 470.35 level remains in reach today. If we break or open today below 466.56, then 462.24 is likely, where we can place a daily low. And if we were to close below 462.24 today, I would expect that 459.43 structure tomorrow, where we could bottom out on a 2 to 3 day basis. And from there, rally back into the 470.35 region, which is dropping daily. We could trade inside that band well into next week, possibly through next week. And I don't see it happening today, but if over the next 3 to 5 days we do settle below the 459.35, that is our indication that the market is likely over the following full week or so, and I say or so because it take a little longer perhaps, but I think a full week would be quite possible, maybe even probable, that if we were to close below 459 43, that 443.21 channel bottom then in reach within about 3 to 5 trading days, where, once again, we can bottom out on a monthly basis, say through January, and from there consolidate and turn higher as we move into Q1, into later Q1. So let's take a look at the upside today. If we happen to push or open above 470.35, the 473.54 all-time high that was put out a couple of weeks ago would be in reach today, where we could top out initially, quite possibly for the day itself, and then closing today above 470.35 indicates 476.43 within 2 to 3 days, and the long-term trend line at 480.51 would be in reach within, I'm going to say, 3 to 5 days of closing above 470.35. So this incredible rally that we've seen over the last few days remains intact. The momentum of that remains fully intact if we were to close today above 470.35, and then we're within 3 to 5 days of reaching or retesting that 480.51 long-term trend line, which you can see here once again. What I like about 480.51 is not only is it a long-term trend line that's worked, but it's also really very close in proximity to a new channel top that is based on the lows from several days ago, and that's at 482.19. Now, even if we were just talking about 480.51, and you've heard me say this before, that if we were to settle above that long-term trend line, any long-term structure on the charts, I do need to settle beyond a 1% margin of. In other words, if it were just 480.51, I would say we need to settle above 480.51 by 1% or 4.80 added to 480.51, so forth and so on, and that would be our buy signal. And we have actually a channel structure just above it that is inside that 1% as well. So there's a lot going on there in the low 480s. They're rising in sync. They are opening up and spreading apart a little bit over time. But if we were to test it over the next week or two, it's a great area to liquidate a long position, perhaps set a short. It's also a significant upside pivot point or continuation point through Q1. If we were to close above that area, say by the end of next week or sooner, for instance, then I think we've got a 3 to 5 month meaningful buy signal that should continue into the 520s, 530s, 540s over the next 3 to 5 months. You've seen some of these structures illustrated in recent weeks. I'm just not there yet. We'll see if we approach the low 480s over the next week or two, and that would be indicated once again if we were to close today above 470.35. Until then, this is the area, 470.35, where the market can, once again, not only top out through the rest of this week, but even through next week. And from there, the market can fall back over the next few weeks to 443.21. The next clear sign that it is likely to test 443.21 would, at least at this point in time, be a settlement below 459.43, which I don't see happening today, but it may by this point next week. That, I think, is all that needs to be said. I'll leave you with the support and resistance levels for today. And once again, I just want to mention that holding above 466.56 should yield 470.35 today, where we can top out through next week. Yet, if we close above 470.35, expect meaningful bullish continuation in the order of the last several days, whereby that 480.51 long-term trend line is then likely to be tested by this point next week. Downside today, breaking or opening below 466.56 indicates 462.24, where we can place a daily low. And if we close today below 62.24, expect a test tomorrow of that 459.43 intermediate channel structure, where tomorrow, being Thursday, we could certainly bottom out through the balance of the week, possibly push back into the 470s, low 470s again within 3 to 5 days. But if we close below 459.43, then the 440s longer term channel bottom becomes a 3 to 5 day likelihood. And that is all I've got to say for Wednesday's Daily SPY Report. Please click like, please click subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow for Thursday's Daily SPY Report, and you have a great evening.